The first thing to bear in mind in today's discussion is that an very alarming number of young people in Nigeria do not have jobs or are unemployed. And what is the definition of somebody being unemployed? That is somebody who is available for work, is actively looking for work, and is not able to get the job. There are various statistics flying out there, depending on which one you rely on. But the cohort of young people between the age of 16 and 24, you have about 36% of them who are unemployed. And that's a lot. And that is also not the whole story. If you add to that number the population that have actually given up hope of ever getting a job. Because when you look for a job, a year, 2 years, 3 years, you don't get it. You say, you know what, no matter what I do, I'm not going to get it. And you withdraw. And that percentage is about a quarter of our active labor force that are withdrawn from the labor market. So if you add that figure to the 36 young people who are unemployed, you are looking at about 60% of youth in this country that are currently unemployed or not actively engaged in the economy. And that is quite alarming. And remember, the cohort of youth I use between the age of 16 and 24. When you use our own definition of youth here, which is anybody between age 16 and 35, or in some countries in Africa, age 16 and 39, the figures become very more alarming. And if you disaggregate the data of the population that are unemployed in Nigeria, you find out that women are particularly more impacted, because you have more women who are unemployed than men. And also people living in the rural areas. A lot of us used to take it for granted that if you are living in rural areas, at least you have access to agriculture and therefore have something to eat at the end of the day. But the reality today is that you have more unemployment in the rural areas than in the urban areas. And that's why you have this huge migration from the rural areas to the urban areas. And then another myth that we need to crack about unemployment is the feeling that at least if you go to school and you get a degree, you will be able to get a job. But actually, the figures of unemployment in this country today shows that university graduates are actually more unemployed than any other age group. And then at another extreme is that those who do not even have education at all. So between the extremes of not going to school and having a university degree, that is where the problem is at the highest level. And you wonder how long it's going to take you to solve that problem. But when you add to it, like Toyin shared earlier, the percentage of our population that fall between age 15 and under, which again ranges from 45% to 50%, you find out that as we are dealing with the current problem, in the next few years, 3 to 5 years, more of these people are going to come up to the age of the labor force. And the problem will only increase. And right now, Nigeria is among the top 10 countries in Africa whose population actually very beautiful. Nigeria is on number 9 within that category. And that is the context in which we are having this discussion today. We have organized similar convening on various themes. Daniel from the Swiss Embassy is here. In June this year, we organized a convening on responding to youth unemployment crisis in Nigeria, approaches that work, that brought different stakeholders from various sectors to discuss the same issue. In June, again, June 22nd, in this hall, we did one on transforming secondary education in Nigeria, looking at trade and enterprise, because the West African Examination Council introduced these 34 subject areas that focuses on trade and enterprise, essentially to deal with the issue that our young people leaving high school only have literacy in English and maths where they do well. And if you consider the fact that about 70% of them who want to go on to higher education will not even get university entrance examination, will not pass it, we begin to realize that that is the critical age that we need to do something, because that's where they begin to fall off the cracks, and we begin to see population of those who are engaged in deviant behavior rising. So our hope today is that with our CEOs here present, with the private sector here present, we will leave this place with some understanding, some agreement of what we need to do to work together to deal with this issue. Because unemployment is not something we should leave to government alone, where they will announce, say, police hire 100,000, immigration hire 20,000, and that will solve the problem. We need to work in a systemic approach, and I'm glad that we have people from countries that we can look at their experiences of a whole system approach involving government, private sector, training centers, professional association to get a handle of the problem. For us in the Ford Foundation, we are a willing partner for every group working in this sector, because from next year, we'll have a program focusing on youth opportunity and learning that is going to work with partners around creating pathways for youth success. Now, these pathways can lead to education, it can lead to a world of employment, and also civic engagement. And also, finally, the critical issue about next generation of leaders who is working in that space. So once again, I welcome you all to the Ford Foundation, and wish all of us a fruitful deliberation today. Thank you.